Sometimes the most revealing details of a piece of art can come not when it's first experienced by the audience, but after, sometimes years after, its release. And such is the popularity of Avengers Infinity War that desire is already burning brightly in the fanbase. Thanks to its ending, one of the most provocative movie moments ever, it will be the most talked about movie of this year, possibly even the decade. And that sort of currency has fans clamoring for a bit more detail. And you can't get much better than the hard facts and secrets that have been revealed since the release by the film's cast and creators. With all that in mind, I'm Will from WhatCulture.com, and this is 10 secret Avengers Infinity War details revealed since its release. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Bruce and Natasha are over. Despite the fact that Mark Ruffalo talked up the need to resolve the complex issue of Natasha and Bruce Banner's romantic relationship in Infinity War before release, they are definitely over. So says Joe Russo, who spoke at a Q&A to confirm that their dynamic was a Joss Whedon decision that he couldn't speak to, and admits that it wasn't entirely popular. He also said that despite their loaded look when they were reunited in Wakanda, they are not in that place anymore. So it's time to cut out the zucchini jokes, okay? Number 9, the name of the Guardians' new ship. Obviously, Avengers Infinity War is practically bursting with Easter eggs, but some of them are so well hidden that there's literally no way of seeing them in the movie. And wouldn't you know, it was James Gunn, that huge fan of bamboozling audiences with Easter eggs, that revealed this little detail. In the first two Guardians movies, the original blue and yellow ship was called the Milano, after Eliza Milano, young Peter Quill's crush at the time. And according to the director, the new ship in Infinity War follows the same naming convention. That vessel is called the Benatar, after another one of Quill's teenage crushes, Pat Benatar. Number 8, why the decimation of XANDAR wasn't included. Unfortunately for Glenn Close's Nova Prime and John C. Reilly's Roman Day, we didn't get to see how the story of the Nova Corps was wrapped up in Infinity War. Somewhat disrespectfully, they were just unceremoniously killed off, presumably, off-screen when Thanos' decimation of XANDAR was mentioned by Thor. That must have been some battle. Why was it left out? Well, Joe Russo told students at Iowa City High School that it just wasn't possible to fit it in, and was easier to deal with off-screen. This unfortunately makes it very unlikely we'll get to see the scene as a flashback in Avengers 4. Number 7, Steve has been back to Wakanda in his time off as Captain America. Recently, Joe Russo sat down with Build Series, who asked him why the reunion between Bucky and Steve in Wakanda wasn't more emotionally charged, given the fact they presumably haven't seen each other in so long and Bucky was now cured and presumably able to remember Steve properly. But as Russo points out, why would it have been the first time they'd seen each other? According to him, Steve has been keeping close contact with Shuri and T'Challa. Obviously, he's been hiding somewhere. He's made his way to Wakanda a couple of times, and that is how we directed that scene. This was not the first time they were seeing each other since Bucky woke up. Of course, it makes sense that Steve would go and visit his best friend when he's undergoing a complex medical procedure. He's Steve Rogers, not a monster. Number 6, why Hulk didn't appear. When the trailers for Infinity War came out, it looked certain that we were going to see Hulk busting some heads in Wakanda, as he was shown running behind Captain America towards the Outrider army in one segment. On top of that, a toy line seemed to suggest he was going to burst out of the Hulkbuster armor when Bruce Banner was overrun by the enemies. Neither of these things happened. Joe Russo has once more explained in a recent Q&A with NPR's Linda Holmes at George Washington University why we didn't get to see the Hulk. We had to be careful with the character of Banner, because if every time he's in trouble Hulk saves him, Hulk becomes the hero and Banner becomes whiny. We wanted to force Banner to be the hero. He also went a little further to talk about Hulk's feelings, confirming he doesn't appreciate being used to save Banner's ass all the time.
You're Banner's friend.
Banner's friend? I prefer you.
In essence, he refuses to be a booty call. Good for him. Number 5, Tom Holland improvised his best scene. Spider-Man's death ended up being one of the most stunning of the entire film, and Peter Parker's spider sense kicked in as he was about to disappear and had the time to express his fear. Him holding on to Tony Stark and saying "I don't want to go" was another one of those devastating moments. And according to the directors, the specifics of the scene were all Holland's work. Speaking to a group of Iowa school kids, he said that while he instructed Holland to act like he didn't want to leave, the lines "Mr. Stark, I don't feel good" and "I don't want to go" were all on the actor. Bloody good work there, Tom Holland. Number 4, where KRAGLIN was. At the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, KRAGLIN mourns the death of Yondu alongside Peter Quill and ends up getting his Yaka arrow and fin handed down to him after the captain dies. He's clearly meant to be a new member of the Guardians at that point, as he's seen training with the arrow on the new Guardians ship. So you think he'd turn up in Infinity War with his teammates, right? Nope, doesn't even get a mention, despite the fact that Sean Gunn was on set doubling for Rocket Raccoon. So where was he? Well, apparently it's a fairly simple answer. He was doing something else. Perhaps we'll find out what in Avengers 4. Number 3, that was Soul World. When Gamora died, a lot of Guardians fans would have been confused by the suggestion that she was going to have an expanded role in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, at least according to James Gunn. The only answer could be that her death won't last, but the problem here is that she wasn't killed in the snap, she was thrown off a cliff, which, believe me, is a difficult thing to take back. So how could she possibly return? Well, Joe Russo has offered a big hint by confirming that the vision Thanos has of a young Gamora after the snap does indeed take place in Soul World, so she might well just be trapped in there. Number 2, the missing Guardians scene. Though there were some scenes in the trailers that didn't make it into the final movie, there weren't that many additional scenes cut from the director's cut of Infinity War, at least according to the filmmakers themselves. But they did also confirm there is at least one deleted scene that starred the Guardians immediately after they're duped by Thanos on Nowhere and Gamora is abducted. They confirmed as much in an interview with EW and described the scene as a straight-up comedic scene. It was just too slow, but no doubt we'll see it on the Blu-ray release. Number 1, Groot's last line. Well, you've got to hand it to Marvel. Even if it turns out that the ending of Infinity War isn't permanent, they still managed to pack in a hefty emotional punch in the climax. Peter Parker's I Don't Want to Go was really hard to watch, so was Bucky's final word Steve, and watching Rocket have to witness Groot dying for a second time in 3 movies was just cruel. The little raccoon sitting devastated on the tree trunk while the other survivors tried to process what happened is one of those images that will take a long time to get out of our heads. And now, thanks to James Gunn, it's even more devastating than it already was. The director has revealed that Groot's last line is about the single most heartbreaking thing to ever happen in a comic book movie in an exchange with a fan on Twitter. Groot's final line was simply, "Dad?" Ugh, it suddenly got awfully dusty in here. And there you have it, folks. Have you picked up any other secret details the filmmakers have let slip about Infinity War since its release? Share your reactions below in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. This is Will for What Culture, and thanks for watching.